Hey all, Dave here. I'm a type 2 diabetic who had to adjust rapidly to the disease following my diagnosis, and I wanted to submit a diabetes freedom review into Literate Owl to talk about my experience with the book, just in case anyone else has found themselves wondering the same question that I was. What is this treatment I keep hearing about? I first started hearing about this program when my then wife suggested it to me after learning that my blood glucose levels were in the 200s. This was following a visit to the doctor for a routine checkup, and, miraculously, he was in such a rush that he didn't even bother to check me for pre-diabetes. To be fair, we both thought it was because I had eaten a big meal before the visit, but he didn't press the issue at all. Just the typical, watch what you're eating, spiel, and I was out the door. Negligent doctors aside, my weight gain was apparent to everyone, especially my wife, who was dropping me hints that she wasn't exactly pleased with it. And I tried, I really did. I took on a variety of fad diets, I picked up exercising to the best of my ability and schedule, and I even eliminated carbs, for a time. But fads are fads because they don't last long. It's not always easy to make time for exercising, and it turns out that everything tasty has carbs in it. At the time I was experiencing serious fatigue and thought it was a symptom of me trying so hard to lose weight. If only. I went back to the doctor, this time while I fasted, and you guessed it. Not only did I have type 2 diabetes, but I also had high cholesterol and needed immediate treatment. I was given a lot of pamphlets, and prescribed Metformin to try to deal with my condition. I was facing a lifetime of medications for the rest of my life, gradually upgrading to insulin, and depending on pharmaceuticals until the day I died. And my wife left me due to my diabetes diagnosis. Looking back, I know that my diagnosis must have been the straw that broke the camel's back. She left shortly after I started medications. I guess the idea of taking care of someone with diabetic complications was a deal breaker. To her credit, she did try at first, and did a little research which led to her mentioning the Diabetes Freedom Program on a few occasions. I didn't listen, she didn't stay. Over time, on diabetic forums and Facebook groups I was joining, I would see more mentions about the program, this Diabetes Freedom. I finally decided to see, what was the big deal? What exactly is this program, and is it actually going to help me, or suggest one of the many various scam diabetes treatments out there? Oh, and speaking of, on Diabetes Freedom Scam Reviews. Before I go further into my own experience with the program, let's address one thing first: there are lots of fake reviews of this thing out there. Now I don't think this has anything to do with the creator of Diabetes Freedom though, it seems more like it's affiliates of the program trying to get money by flooding the internet with fake reviews. None of them really go into whether or not they even actually bought the program, or how they felt about it. I'm going to be doing exactly that. So thanks to literateowl.com for giving me a platform and the opportunity. Website, www.diabetesfreedom.com. What is Diabetes Freedom? Diabetes Freedom ebook. Diabetes Freedom is a natural cure for diabetes, specifically type 2 diabetes. Type 1 is an autoimmune disorder and cannot be cured. This is a 2-month program aimed at helping you cut down your fatty deposits through regulated diet and exercise. This isn't a miracle program, and, thankfully, it never pretends to be. It's purely a treatment program aimed at type 2 diabetics, made by type 2 diabetics, which is one way it's different from a generic exercise program. The allure is obvious. If you can manage to beat your need for medications through dietary and lifestyle changes, why wouldn't you? Every now and then I still see the look in my ex-wife's face when I came home with my prescription for Metformin that first evening. Meet the creator, George Reilly. The program's creator, George Reilly, suggests that he can, well, free you from dependence on metformin, insulin, and the like. A sufferer of type 2 diabetes himself, he credits a combination of meal timings, nutrition, and increased metabolism would help him wean off the medications until he was symptom-free. One thing that's important to note, George Reilly is not some ultra-doctor MD Supreme. He's a regular person, like me, who did his research and sought a solution when pharmaceutical companies told him there wasn't one. For me, that's inspiring. For other people, that's a deal breaker. Just something to keep in mind. It's also important to note that even though you live with type 2 diabetes in some capacity forever, it is not uncommon to reach a point where you are in control of the symptoms. That's the goal of this program. The core of the program is targeting a tiny lipid molecule had been identified as the root cause of type 2 diabetes. The molecule in question forces toxic fat cells to flow in the blood, which will eventually clog up your vital organs including your heart, pancreas, and liver. So far, so good, but the question remains whether or not diabetes freedom actually works. The 3-step approach. Here's the core of the program. The Pancreas Restart Nutrition Plan. This nutrition plan, which comes as a 5-part video series, targets the white fat cells that clog the pancreas as a side effect of type 2 diabetes. The goal is to get the pancreas working in tip-top shape so it can continue regulating blood sugar and secreting insulin. This nutrition plan includes breakfast shakes, meals, a detailed carb list and suggestions, detox teas, and even spices that can help lower blood sugar and reduce cravings. The metabolism boosting blueprint for type 2 diabetics. The goal here is to boost brown fats in the body. Brown fats are known to improve blood sugar levels, clear your arteries, and even boost energy. This is done through a quick and easy 2-minute routine. Meal timing strategies that eradicate diabetes. The third and final step is to plan out your meals and intake of carbs and sweets to curb diabetes. Managing your blood sugar is one of the first things you learn about post-diagnosis, so if this wasn't a major part of the book I would have been suspicious. That's all there is to it. It's relatively simple, so people from all walks of life can easily jump into the program. That's one of my favorite things about it. Beyond that, it comes with various recipes so you have an easier time making diabetic-safe foods. As far as an informative guides on diabetes go, this is definitely high up there, and I've looked through a lot of them. If you or someone you know are relatively new to dealing with type 2 diabetes, you can confidently recommend they check out the Diabetes Freedom book. The information is top-notch. And I know because I did my research. Before I bought the main manual, I had to know. Does science support Diabetes Freedom's claims? If you look up any other Diabetes Freedom review they'll say it's good and works, but, of course it does. It's a lifestyle and dietary guide for diabetics. As long as you put in the work and do your research, you can create one that's effective for the most part. The real question is if the core of this program specifically, targeting the pancreas to alleviate diabetic symptoms, is scientifically sound. The first study I looked up went into the connection between lipids and type 2 diabetes. It was extremely jargon-heavy, but the general gist seems to be that the jury was out on the connection between an abnormal amount of lipids, cholesterol, in the blood because of diabetes versus because of genetics. This was back in 2010. At first, I thought that wasn't a good sign for George Reilly and his ebook. But then, I found a much more recent study, from 2019 via Science Mag. This study did find a direct correlation between targeting the pancreas and improving insulin resistance and fatty liver disease. In mice fed a high-fat diet, deletion of DES1 improved glucose and lipid metabolism. So while the research is relatively new, it appears that diabetic treatment is turning towards lipids and the pancreas in order to help alleviate symptoms. So seems that good old George might actually be ahead of the curve with the Diabetes Freedom main manual. At this point I was sold, and decided to buy the book myself. A note, I've seen people about trying to find the PDF on random scam sites, or seeing if it's on Amazon or something. I got it from the official website at www.diabetesfreedom.com. I wouldn't really mess around with any other sites, because it's an ebook and you want to be able to download it instantly. Diabetes Freedom Ingredients. You might think this guide is going to involve a lot of kale and exercise. But no. There are 4 main ingredients that Diabetes Freedom focuses on as part of the natural treatment. Cinnamon chives dark chocolate grapes. Much preferable to unnatural chemicals or supplements you have to keep taking for the rest of your life. As the book puts it, these foods are great at detoxing the body, helping you flush contaminants that contribute to and exacerbate diabetic symptoms. One thing people might notice is that these are tasty foods, and ones you hear about often as having some fringe health benefits. Well, it seems George might have found a way to take those benefits mainstream. Diabetes Freedom System, Pros and Cons. Pros. Backed by research, while I only really was interested in seeing the science behind the claims about the pancreas, the whole guide is backed by science. Meal planning, the types of food to incorporate into your diet, a lot of this is well researched and proven. For newcomers to type 2 diabetes, this should be a major pro. Accessible, the main manual is easy to follow, and with the videos you can access it from anywhere, anytime. There isn't a huge learning curve with adapting to the instructions. Money-back guarantee, this one was a huge pro for me. Diabetes Freedom is sold through ClickBank, which means you have the added perk of having a 60-day money-back guarantee. You can try it for 2 months, coincidentally the exact time you're meant to follow the program, to see if it works for you. Mental and lifestyle benefits, this book encourages changes that improve your diet, which comes with a myriad of additional benefits. For example, I mentioned how I was chronically tired prior to my diagnosis. Well, that's long gone now. The foods I'm eating have me filled with energy from the moment I wake up, and you can ask my ex-wife whether or not I was a morning person before Reilly's PDF came into my life. It's like I've reversed the clock on aging. Cons. Mileage may vary. Even though it's a very general program for all type 2 diabetics, it's not going to work for everyone. Just like fad diets and fad workouts, some people have an easier time adjusting to it than others. Written by a layman, this is an everyday person who was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes and decided to take matters into their own hands, rather than letting it control them. Reilly struggled, used himself as a guinea pig, and came out on top. While I personally like this story, I can see why other people would prefer someone licensed, even if the licensed person doesn't have any personal experience with diabetes and makes money off their lifetime prescriptions. New science, while most of the meal planning and exercise portions are legit, the idea of targeting the pancreas to help deal with diabetes symptoms seems newer. Until it's more peer-reviewed, I can understand why people would be apprehensive to try it out. Time. It takes time. I doubt there's any instant solution to anything related to diabetes, although certain medications can help give you temporary relief. Overall, this is a constant battle. This wouldn't be an honest diabetes freedom review if I told you anything else. Even with this system, if you decide to get it, you have work ahead of you. How do I buy diabetes freedom? As I mentioned above, I personally would only buy it from their official website, diabetesfreedom.com. It's a PDF ebook download, so you want to be able to start it the moment you pay for it. Update, the main manual seems to be a discount at the moment. You can get it for just $37, but it's a limited time offer. You also get a few bonuses, like extra PDFs including the 33 Power Foods Blueprint, which was my favorite of them. I mentioned in the pros section above, but there's a 60-day money-back guarantee on this. Even so, I want to stress the need to be patient about this. There are no instant results when it comes to type 2 diabetes. It's gonna take some time to defeat this. I would highly recommend you try this out for a month or 2 and give it your all. No half measures. That said, if you have any issues or complaints, you can contact their support. They don't seem to have a contact phone number, but their support email is support@diabetesfreedom.org. Coupons and discounts. Before I bought the program, I wanted to see if there were any diabetes freedom coupons. I've heard about people getting it for cheaper price, but for some reason I wasn't able to find it. Maybe the offer expired, or maybe I missed something, but if any of my readers see this and know how to get diabetes freedom at a discount, please let me know in the comments below. I paid full price and I'm pretty happy with them system regardless, but if it's possible to save a few bucks for my readers, I don't see why they wouldn't try too. Final verdict, is it legit? Does the Diabetes Freedom Program work? My looking into this program was prompted by losing my ex-wife because of my diabetes diagnosis, so to say I was motivated to deal with my symptoms would be an understatement. I wanted a program that I can follow to the letter in order to see results, because I didn't want to have to rely on constantly by Metformin and eventually insulin to get my symptoms under control. I didn't want to be a slave to the pharmaceutical companies for the rest of my life. So far, I've been following the Diabetes Freedom Program for a month now, and I'm more than happy with it. It's clear, easy to understand, I've seen changes on the scale and even on my mental health. I'm no longer tired as I used to be, and my mood has improved significantly. I even had a brief run-in with my ex-wife at the grocery store shortly after starting Diabetes Freedom, I believe 2 to 3 weeks after I bought it. We didn't talk much, but she did comment on how I seemed happier, and she asked me if I'd been working out, because I was looking a little slimmer. It's not much, but it's a start. If you're looking for a comprehensive guide that can help you manage your type 2 diabetes symptoms, I don't think you can go wrong with giving Reilly's program a chance. It feels innovative because the pancreas research is still being developed, but if it takes off, this might be a new viral way to help deal with diabetes. Hope you enjoyed this diabetes freedom review, and hope you make an informed decision because of it. If you have any questions or comments, or just want to talk, don't hesitate to comment below.